Welcome, all my beautiful, wonderful listeners, to yet another AI at 12 FPS. I am joined today by the wonderful, the lovely, the brilliant friend of mine who has an amazing character, the wonderful.
Hi, God, I'm never fucking prepared for when people do that. Hi, I am Gail. I am also here. And I am also joined by a wonderful, fantastic, incredible, delightful, talented, funny, charming. I need more positive adjectives. I need to read a dictionary. Um, Very good friend who I very much adore, and who has tried to murder me this day.
I loved. It's just a little bit of gentle stab, 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 stab with kindness. And I'm going to be Spec or Spectral Haunts, whichever you prefer, though most people tend to say Spec because the other is a bit of a mouthful, but each to their own. And it is time. And I will be playing, because I feel like we should introduce characters, the
Oh shit, yeah.
wonderful, the amazing private investigator Grim Tome.
And I will be playing, sorry, I accidentally muted my mic there. I will be playing Yu Audien's local secretary and college student, well, former college student. He's not currently attending college, but he is currently a secretary, so that's fun.
He's in between semesters. We'll say that.
Oh no, he actually graduated college.
Oh, look at him.
He did 4 years at Night Raven. He's not fucking going back.
You voice, I've done my time, I've served my sentence.
I did my waiting. 4 years of it. In Night Raven College.
I'm sorry, that joke will never get old to me.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's such a hammy piece of acting, but it works so well. I love it.
Does.
Uh,
Shall we set our scene then?
yes, we shall. This is a bad time to mention I didn't actually plan the mystery ahead of time, so we're gonna be
Cool.
improving
We
shit.
got this. We're just gonna keep pulling things out. It's a game of yes and now.
We love when we get to yes and a murder.
You down for murder? Yes, and?
Exactly. It's delightful.
Oh god, this could be the death of me.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no, don't be. This is amazing.
We love committing crime.
Yeah. I totally don't have an obsession with the law and following it. I totally am a crazy crime person. Definitely 100%. Um,
I mean, I love committing crime. I don't know if you like committing crime. I don't know if you want to incriminate yourself on recording like that, but I fear neither God nor the law, so I can fully say I love committing crime.
I am lucky enough to be able to say I do not commit crime and be able to say that actually truthfully.
I have pirated so many movies and so many video games. I am a
You.
criminal.
There's worse
It's
crimes
not
to do.
really it's not really crime though, because like I'm not profiting off it. I just want it to have.
It technically. We can talk about this later. It gets into a whole lot of law, and I will start rambling. Hyperfixation kick in. However,
Points at you, fucking law student.
I am an art student now. I've.
Now.
I'm a reverse Phoenix Wright. Let me live.
Oops, I accidentally yoked my keys across the room. I
keep
really
these
should
on.
stop trying to spin those.
So,
Anyway, we are
yes.
wildly off topic.
Yes. A crime has been committed here in Bill's town. I know, impossible to ever suspect. Crime never happens here. And to no
A
one's
crime has been
surprise,
committed in Billstown. In other news, the sky is blue and it's a day ending in Y.
it has been a murder, once again. Not a surprise, let's be honest.
No.
And we
It's
find
it's a shock anyone lives here with how many murders are committed on such a regular basis. Really, what are the police doing?
it makes you wonder if, like, nope, I'm not going to develop another horrible Toon trope where certain people are more likely to have certain things happen to them. I'm not going to. I,
You don't have to. I already did that. I have an entire character whose entire concept is you were born to be fridged, and then you said no. But that's another character entirely. Anyway.
anyway, anyways, um, welcome, my good friends, to Villestown, where we've set our scene. There has been a murder. A man has been murdered in Villestown.
A body has been discovered.
In Villestown. um,
Somewhere.
I gotta look away from the gallery. um,
See, this is why I don't open the gallery until after.
I play Tome, who does technically use the gallery. So I do.
Oh, right. Mans has a
Yes.
chat.
Man is in the chat. So I do also have to say, like your announcer voice, a man has been murdered in Villestown goes credit to Noodle, my beloved, for killing me with that one. But yes, so Villestown, murder. We're on a street. There has been a minor crowd that has formed, not the biggest. Like we said, it's not the most uncommon thing to happen here in Villestown, but there's still the occasional person. You have the witness sobbing, the chalk outline from where the victim was. Like a bit of blood stains. Don't worry about that. I got it. I got the crime. I got you. I got it from now on. My brain just connected
we got
all
the
the
crime.
dots.
We got the crime. Crime has been committed.
So let me reset the scene. We stand here on the side of a street where the group has sort of started to gather. Now, there is footprints to be found. Oh, they're very hard to miss. For you see, in the middle of a street is a bunch of red, dried up liquid with footprints leading away. And it's dark, it's a deep red, and it's just not normal. It's not the thing you would see. And there is somebody and witnesses say that the night before a scream had been heard in the area, that there had been the sound of some of shattering followed by a scream and then a bit of shouting and silence. And well, with the scene that they wake to, it is not hard to see that something must have happened. So what happened
Oh.
exactly? Well, that's for us to figure out, is it not?
Maybe for one of us. The other is getting a phone call at his workplace, and well, unfortunately, no one is available to take the call right now. So he just picks up the phone. Oh shit, a murder's happened. Okay. We don't have anyone in today. But what's the address? I'll be right over.
You are given an address which isn't too bad. It's near one of the schools of Villestown. It's a neighborhood behind it.
Oh shit, that's not good. It is never good when school and murder get involved with one another. Alright, I'll be right over. Dyer, hold down the fort. And he, steps out the door, pauses, leans back through, and don't set anything on fire!
It's really
Back
funny
out.
that you say that because right as you said that, my cat started meowing really loudly at me and then jumped into my lap. So I was like, I really hope that picked up some because I could just imagine Dyer screaming.
She like yowls her disapproval at being told, "No, you may not commit arson."
How dare you
Um,
stop me?
how dare you forbid me from committing arson, the one thing I love most in this world. Um, but yeah, no, she is told, hold down the fort, no arson. The sign on the door is turned, and Yu is heading out to the scene of the crime. How does Tome come across this crime scene though?
Well, Tom technically does not fall under any of the Villestown detectives. He isn't really considered much of one in the sense of a. While he stays there and he knows Moria and they are close, he never has officially filed himself as under her office. He technically does still work out of Toontown. But that doesn't mean he doesn't visit Villestown. As we established, he's practically a local at this point due to how many people he knows who lives in Villestown. So he's on his way back, actually, from visiting the boys, when he notices a crowd is forming. And, well, when a crowd forms in Villestown, it means the plot's nearby. So, with curiosity getting the better of him, he does take a bit of a turn and walks down the street until he can see the group that's crowded around and talking. There is one or two cops out there, not too many. And he notices the giant red stain on the sidewalk. This seems like an interesting day already.
An interesting day indeed. I think you probably got there a couple minutes before Tome did, just for being alerted to it personally.
Yeah.
Probably like got called in because the police are like, "Oh shit, we need specialists."
And the police looking at this does not look like any normal crime. Let's go.
Um, so let's see, Tome, roll perception.
Okay, Boo, I love you. Gotta let me grab my dice. Boo, please. Please, dear God, let me. Thank you. Okay, let me just. Yeah. And I'm having to do all this like with one hand, basically.
Cause cat.
Because cat. Oh, okay. Not his best roll.
Above a 15, so it works. Tome, you're standing there and, observing the crime scene, probably starting to puzzle a few things out. Uh, when you hear the clicking of a camera, specifically the clicking of an instant film camera, followed by the. I
Oh,
can't. It's not picking me up, but
oh, I heard
the
it.
sort of. Yeah, the sort of sound of a camera printing out a photo. And then the sort of wobble of someone, flapping out the paper to help it develop.
Tom kind of perks up at that sound because he doesn't hear that as often. He's more used to the click of plot devices than anything. And so he will admit curiosity gets the better of him and he turns around to face the sound.
He actually doesn't have to turn much because the sound comes from sort of across the scene from him, where a semi-familiar figure is crouched down, taking a photo sort of closer to the ground of the crime scene.
Tom looks over, and there is a mix of feelings which he's granted. For the last two times he has met this person, it hasn't been in the best. But a scene is still a scene which he. And so he will approach. If anything, maybe Yu is involved in this one as well. So he walks over, and when he's about, say, 2 feet away, he gives a little. You, was it, I believe?
Let me just roll wisdom because I have established this as a gag at this point that anytime this boy gets approached, he gets startled. He actually got a fucking nat 20 this time. Okay.
You at a crime scene, people are going to approach me. I know it.
No, it's more of just a boy is in the zone. Boy is in the zone with the photo stuff and kind of just barely glances up at Tome and doesn't really seem to register who he's talking to as he just says, uh yes, sorry, you out Jens. I'm with Moria's office. I'm just here to catalog information.
No,
I'll be out
understood.
of your way in just a moment.
I hate that Tome's just handing me okay. Alright then. Will I be able to see the photos once you're done?
Hmm? Oh, and that actually gets you to like pause, look up. Oh, oh, um,
A little
he
raised
kind of,
eyebrow.
Tome, you are welcome to roll insight.
Oh, please. The dice are not being kind to me. I say about a dirty 20.
That's still a fucking dirty 20, man. How much kinder can they be?
Not make me roll below a 10.
Fair.
I'm just lucky I have crazy high modifiers for perception and insight.
True. So, Tome can immediately pick up that, oh, you have startled this person out of some kind of focus. This is very much a routine that you have interrupted. Um, as you, like, very almost abruptly, like, stands up and, like, takes a step back. The step back is almost subconscious looking, like, very much a, you know, this person is awkward around you and doesn't want to be in your general vicinity, but also doesn't know how to express that.
Don't worry, I do not plan on getting upset with you. That's what you're worried about. I'm here for this case, and then we may go our separate ways.
Right, right, of course. This is your job, right.
Yes.
Um,
Which I do have to ask, are you involved in this one as well?
no. Well, only in
Besides
so
as a photographer.
I'm here to collect information for people more qualified than me to handle the case back at the office once someone's available.
Alright, well,
Everyone is very busy today.
hopefully I will be able to handle this case then for you so that they don't have to worry about anything else on their plates.
Uh, if it can be solved, that is always ideal. And it is at that point to kind of break this awkwardness that he's otherwise going to fall into. There's a little beep from the pocket mirror clipped to the inside of his vest, and he pulls it out. Oh, cool. All right. Ortho, show me the angles. And he kind of looks around, clearly seeing something you're not, and starts to move to take a photo somewhere else.
Tome is following after him, kind of curious. He doesn't say anything, but he is very much intently watching.
Um, do we want to have both of these guys like roll investigation on the crime scene?
I say we do. I have to, I'm so sorry, beloved, you have to go onto the ground. I'm so glad that for once you actually want to cuddle me, but you cannot keep trying to knock over my dice. I am just being bullied.
I'm not.
I am reliant upon these modifiers at this point.
I got a second nat 20 in a row, and I don't know why my
Stop
dice are being
stealing my
nice to me
luck!
today.
Stop stealing my luck!
Sorry, I don't mean to! You really should start using DMV as a roller, but you don't have DMV.
Yeah, I moved off DMV.
I use DMV as my roller because it's easy.
Valid.
But yeah, that is a 26 from me and a 16 from you.
Tom's a little more focused on watching you than he is on the crime scene right now. You
Hmm.
gotta keep an eye on you. His trust for you is not exactly at its highest.
No, it's not. With what do you think we see though?
Well, for you, since you have a nat 20, you see a lot. For Tome, he specifically, since he sees less, it's mostly things he's already noticed by now. Because his passive perception's way higher than what he rolled, so
Mm-hmm.
there is a very notable red stain of unknown source that kind of spatters around, and red footprints that lead away from it. There is sort of people gathering, and the witnesses mentioned that there was some noise last. Now are you noticed you. Oh gosh, I still hate that. I love it. I love it, but I hate it at the same time because my poor mind short circuits. You notices something that's very important. And the fact that you notices amongst this sort of unknown red um, mixture, because two things about it. One, it's kind of thick actually. Okay? It's has parts where like it's more built up than others. And it appears to like be a bit scratchy, as if although it is partially solid and above the ground, it's been torn apart at. And then, more importantly, you notice glass around it. They're very small pieces and they blend in, a lot of them within the middle of this liquid in very small shards, but there seems to be glass mixed in with this.
Huh. Use immediate instinct is to look up.
You look up and there is a sky.
No shit, Sherlock.
I'm sorry I had to.
The immediate instinct is to look up at surrounding buildings because we are in a city, and that means that there's glass from windows.
all of
If
the
there was
windows
going to be glass on the ground, either a bottle was smashed here, which wouldn't have this big of a puddle around it, even if the bottle was full, unless it was, a gallon-sized bottle, or somebody fell out a fucking window.
you look up and all the windows are in perfectly good um standing. None are broken. I need to let you know, by the way, this is gonna be the funniest part about this for me. This is based off something that has actually happened.
Oh god. Okay.
I promise you it's not as dark as you think. Just have some.
No, I didn't think it would be.
No, this is. I have the prime tune crime for us right now. And this is based off something that actually happened. So you look up, and all the windows are in good standing. There are a couple of banners hanging, some flowers on the side of some buildings, but besides that, it looks quite untouched actually.
Hmm. I am having to smack my boy because his second impulse is going to get him yelled at.
What is it?
Because the second impulse is just, is this actually blood/ink?
You can find out. I will roll to see how quickly Tome notices and if he reacts to whatever you're gonna do.
I need to, I guess, roll a d2, because my boy's impulse control is shot for, cough cough reasons. But I don't know if he would go full Connor Detroit.
Love Connor so much.
Okay, so I was wrong.
Let me roll that
So
perception. Right, that is going to be a 19. I'm not typing it, I'm just saying it as I roll it. And
mhm.
let me see, what's his dex?
I
That's a
don't think he's
13 dex. Roll a dex for me real quick.
I don't think he was actually gonna put it in his mouth. Like, can I explain what he does?
Sure.
So he looks up, sees that there's no broken windows for this glass to have come from, so his brain goes back to the bottle theory of, okay, well, was something glass broken? And and that kind of gives him the thing of, well, if something glass was broken, is this not blood? Especially considering, there's footprints. Somebody walked away from this.
Indeed.
So he has gloves on, but he taps a pinky finger against sort of where the stuff is the thickest and if any of it is still wet. And he will just try and sniff that.
1 second, I gotta Google something real quick. It smells of strawberry.
Immediately, he's just, oh, okay, thank God this one's not as serious.
I need you to know the funniest thing about this is I'm not kidding when I say this is based on something that's actually happened. I will tell this story after the FPS.
Anyway.
Don't worry. Yes, it is a semi-thick substance, and when he sniffs it, it smells of strawberry and vinegar.
Strawberry and vinegar. The vinegar's the odd one, but kind of frowns and just, why are we freaking out about strawberry salad dressing?
What? And Tome turns around and sees that you've put your hand in it and goes, "What are you doing?"
Well, it's not blood. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
What do you mean it's not blood? And
I
he
mean, it smells like
finally,
strawberries. Do you know anyone with strawberry scented blood? Actually, that might be a thing that happens
no,
here.
it is a thing that happens here. But and he crouches down to look at it before he looks at you, and then he just gives a little bit of an approving nod. You're right, this is not blood. Nor is it ink. Wrong consistency for both.
It's far too thick. That was something that stuck out, because for it to be this thick, it would either have to be partially coagulated before it fell, which would be disgusting, or someone would have had to been physically disintegrated, which, again, disgusting.
No, it's not neither of those. I've seen disintegrated tunes before, and they don't look like this. And like you said, the chances, if there was something that went on beforehand that would have gotten the blood all together, there would have been more sign of it.
So nobody would have, if they had time to let it coagulate like this, they wouldn't have walked away and left footprints. Also, it smells like strawberries.
Yes, there is also the fact that it smells like strawberries. And while I do know some tunes who do have strawberry for blood, they are very limited, and I do not believe they are involved in this. It's much more likely that we are just not dealing with a murder, which is a relief, at least.
Well, it definitely means that I got a false call. And he's actually going to look up, and permission to name the NPC who supposedly called you in.
Sure.
Sergeant Simons, did you even test this stuff?
Well, Uh, we didn't exactly want to go touching it for obvious reasons.
Isn't that your job?
Well, technically, it's our job to collect a sample and then send it to the forensics, and then that,
And did
but,
you do that?
well, no, we figured that a small child would show up before we had the chance.
That just gets, like, the most resounding fucking facepalm ever. And just,
No, I can't blame them.
you're going to rely on a small child to solve a crime that you yourself are uncomfortable with dealing with. And you call yourself law enforcement.
Yes, the child gets a lot more excited over it than we do.
About the child's mental health than it does about the child's
No.
capability to handle the.
I hate to say it,
Okay.
they do have a point. Camille does get excited about crime.
Ah. No, actually, that explains everything.
Yeah, see, you understand now.
I've read his case files. Yes, I understand. Oh dear. But still,
Yeah, no, still.
doing at the very least preliminary investigation into what exactly is in front of you rather than just assuming, oh, it's red, it's sticky, someone was killed here.
I mean, we do get, like, a murder every other day here. You can't really blame us.
You also get petty theft and bank robberies.
Yes, but there are bird feathers
minor
normally found around
misunderstood
petty
accident.
theft. We normally get bird feathers around petty theft, and there's no feathers at this one.
Why would there be feathers around?
No,
You know what?
Tome holds up his hand. I know that one as well. Don't worry about it.
That gets a raised eyebrow, and you is just going to look at him and just. The city is so goddamn weird.
Oh,
Okay.
no, you're absolutely right. Wait till you visit Toontown. Though,
I've visited Toontown's library. I think that's all I need to visit if this is normal.
yeah.
And there is very much the exaggerated air quotes around normal.
No. Good point there. Good point there. No, I will admit the law enforcement of this particular city, and Tom shoots a glare over, is not the best, and I would prefer if they not rely on a child to do it. Although he is a very capable child, if something were to happen to him. Tome dead staring the officer, who's slowly shrinking some.
Okay, Simons, give me the materials you have to take a sample. Because
Okay.
clearly you are at the point where you are relying on people who are less qualified but more capable.
You tell the child.
No, I'm not telling the child. I'm using my own equipment.
Okay, thank you. And he hands the stuff over. Simon voice, do not snitch on me to the child.
You voice internally, oh, I'm absolutely snitching later. I'm just not snitching right now because the kid's having an off day and I don't want to interrupt him on his off day because that'd be rude. And he's just going to take a small sample with the official equipment, and then he pulls the pocket mirror out from inside of his vest, and sort of clicks it open, and says, "Okay, where did I put the forensics tab?" And he's just going to be occupied for a second.
All right, let's see if Tone can get anything going on in the process. He reaches into his hammer space and he pulls out a basic forensics kit and then just kind of crouches down as he starts to try and gather some of the sample to test it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna roll another investigation to see how well he's doing it. Okay, that one is much better.
Do I continue rolling off my nat 20 investigation?
You can absolutely still go after nat 20.
Yeah, so because you actually has like a program built into his into his pocket mirror for this sort of thing.
Yeah, so
That
absolutely.
which basically just analyzes stuff for him, and I usually like the way I've been thinking of doing it is just rolling investigation, and just that's how you investigate stuff if he's not just doing it by himself.
Sounds
Is
fucked up.
just Ortho figures it out because this is not my area of expertise. So he like takes the sample and sticks that into a little port at the side of the pocket mirror. What does Tome find?
Trying to think of what he could get from testing it right there. The most of the stuff that he can get from a in-person one is most likely going to be the acidity of it, and if there's traces of blood in it, which he finds
Mhm.
negative to traces of blood. And let me look up how acidic this specific thing is. It is a very acidic thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's mostly what he gets. Now, for you, how much does Yu's thing tell him about the sample?
So depending on what the sample he puts in is, it can either like identify, like if it were blood, it could identify things that you could tell about a person's health by their blood, like, oh, this blood came from somebody with this blood type, with these specific conditions, who probably would have had, this specific physiology or these specific traits. um for something else, it will usually just break it down into its base components and like explain what those are and then give a rough estimate of what this thing was.
Okay, elements or like parts of it.
Like pieces, like ingredients.
All right, I'm looking this up right now. All right, there was strawberries, sugar, and lemons.
Blink, 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 blink. Is this fucking jelly?
Are you saying that in character, out of character?
He's saying that in character, just looking at this little glowing blue screen that is reading out this, it reads out in like this very sweet, chirpy voice, just the following sample contains elements of sugar, strawberries, and lemons.
Tom looks back, looks up, and looks at his own stuff and kind of just gives a nod. He's like, would make sense. I guess the question is simply then, would there be a place to get it nearby? That would explain why it's here.
Someone just drop a jelly jar and we all collectively lost our minds.
So, fun fact, on the street outside my apartment, a week ago, somebody dropped a jar of jelly. And students kept gathering outside it because we thought it was blood. This is a true story.
Like, oh my god.
I actually walked by it today and it's still there, and there's still people stopping to look at it.
Yu is just staring at this and just staring at the readout and just has the most dumbfounded, slightly irritated expression on his face.
That's why I said it's really funny, and it actually can happen in real life.
That's incredible, and I adore you. Also, just... oh my goodness. He just clicks the mirror shut, turns around with the biggest customer service smile, to Sergeant Simons and is just, well, congratulations. You are officially too much of a coward to investigate some spilled jelly. Go back to school. This clearly isn't the career path for you.
Holy shit. You pulling 0 punches.
And he will just, like, turn back around to the crowd. And can I, like, roll a flat charisma?
Just do it.
That's a 21, which is a 16 plus 5. As, again, just with the most, like, bright, cheerful customer service face, he's just, I'm sorry, everyone, for the confusion. It looks like this was just a little mix-up. Everything's okay. Go about your day. Everything's gonna be great.
I see you are handling this well.
Part of the job.
Let me...
Hmm?
I said let me roll something. Fuck! 1 second, I gotta roll hammer space. Okay. Give me a second. Fuck this shit. Let me pull up. Let me pull up Tangle Tower so I can see his fucking hammer space.
Oh god.
Shout out to my recording now that just has like that has Tangle Tower music in it for like 5 seconds. Turning that sound off. There we go.
Oh shit, mine's probably gonna be borked again, because it's saying encoding is overloaded. Hang on.
That's you.
1 second. Settings.
Valid. I'm doing math real quick.
Settings.
You
Recording is currently paused on my end. Settings. Okay. Okay, I think I fixed the encoder setting.
good?
Think we're good.
Sweet.
If not, we do have backup. Thank you, Comet. We love you, Comet.
Okay. When you turns around, he sees Tome reach it into his hammer space again. He's holding a small box in one hand, but as he turns around, Tome just pulled up a broom with a dustpan and just starts casually sweeping up the jam.
You will nod appreciatively of that. Just, yep, that's probably a good call. Here, let me see if I have any cleaning supplies left. Also a 1, which means yes, he has cleaning supplies, because that's half of his fucking fumble chart. Yeah, okay, with a nat 20 on the on the fumble, he will pull out like a couple bottles of floor cleaner with like labels written in Sylvan. and just sort of spray a bit of that on the ground to sort of help remove jelly stains.
These two probably work in silence at this for a hot minute until it's all cleaned up.
As the crowd disperses and poor Sergeant Simons goes home.
Goes home to question his life decisions. Well, that's that then. And
That was a mystery that didn't need solving, but heck, if it didn't, sure get solved.
indeed, indeed. Well, I'm glad I was here then rather than having to worry about an entire detective case on this.
I'm just glad I don't have to write up. Oh, wait. I actually will have to write up a report on this.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Oh, this is going to be so stupid in the filing system. Where do you even put this? Solved case immediately. Called in, immediately solved. The true culprit was the idiocy of the person calling me.
I guess you could consider it a littering case.
Yeah, littering. Do we do littering? I don't even know if we have a filing cabinet for littering. I'll have to look.
If you want, I can take the case for you.
No, I can't ask that of you. This is my job. I am a secretary.
Yes.
Secretaries do paperwork.
But this case would fall under my jurisdiction. Anyways, so.
Your jurisdiction is littering?
My jurisdiction is Toon logic. Let's be honest, a bunch of people mistaking a giant amount of jam on the ground for a murder scene, quite a Toon event.
Don't know enough about tunes to confirm or deny that, so I'm just going to take your word for it. If it's not too much trouble, I don't mind. I can give you the folder with all the now useless photos.
No, it's not a big deal for me. I do paperwork like this all the time. And he holds out his hand for the file.
And you will hand him the manila folder he was putting all of these photos in.
He takes them?
And he will, like, squint at one of the photos as he, like, checks to make sure they're all in there and just say, we could have fucking guessed this from the beginning. There were seeds in it. What kind of bloodstain has seeds?
Well, don't worry about it. Listen, you see a lot of things if you solve enough cases here.
I'll, again, take your word for it. I'm only a detective when it's required of me by my headmaster.
Headmaster?
At my former college, he had me do a bunch of investigations because he couldn't be bothered.
That doesn't exactly sound legal. But okay.
The great thing about living somewhere where the legal system is the school system.
There is a mouse who will approach. There, you've already met her. Aminimi.
I've met her. We've had
Yes.
breakfast a couple times. She's nice.
Yes, along with other things.
Mm.
If she asks about your past college, do not let her go near it. Thank you.
Oh, no. No one is going anywhere near just that whole. He kind of gestures, and there is a very distinct look of disgust on his face. Situation anytime soon.
Okay, good. Well, then, with that handled, and he brushes himself off, I believe this is the end of our interaction.
I'm not inclined to oppose you there.
And Tome is giving. I'm so sorry. Tome's just handing me giving a curt nod as he starts putting his stuff away. He's a horrible, 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 horrible human. Gallery has
But
asked us if we need another crime in order to get them to talk.
I mean, that would be really funny. I was half tempted to suggest it, but also I don't want to like drag things out if you don't want to.
Oh, I don't mind.
But also, like, it would be really funny if these two just kept running into each other on cases.
So there's two suggestions in the gallery. We can have petty theft show up, or we can have a jelly donut get murdered. A jelly donut toon get murdered.
Oh my god! Both of those are really funny. Oh god. You know what? Let's keep with the fucking jelly theme. Jelly donut murder, I guess.
There's there's a stream nearby as they start to like go ways, and they look over to see a jelly donut toon like fall dramatically to the ground before before a silvered blur shoots away.
I
Well,
am I hallucinating?
no, no, no. I did tell you they do exist.
Not anymore.
Anyways,
Shit.
and Tome is
And
gonna
he's going to
start
quickly
running.
walk over to the he's gonna walk over to the victim and see if like, oh shit, is this person still breathing? Like, can we call the hospital?
Tome is beginning chase on the silver blur. So we will
God.
temporarily split scenes, I guess. Tome stuff will probably happen more off screen. Because I do
Mm-hmm.
not have the entire fight sequence. But
Mm-hmm.
you bends over and there is a jelly donut just dramatically laid out in the Family Guy death pose with like just red spooling around them.
Okay, that's just undignified. Hang on, friend. We're gonna figure this out. And he's just going to like very brief check to make sure he still has his gloves on, and then turn this person over to try and put a bit of pressure on the injury to stop it from bleeding.
You put pressure on the injury. and and I'm sorry, you know what happens when you squeeze a jelly donut, right?
And he's just like, oh, wait, not a person, because I did.
Push it and more jelly squirts out, and then you just get a weak scream.
Shit, sorry. And this is what I rolled on a medicine check. And he tosses the pocket mirror out to the side. Ortho, call local medical support.
I can see it already. I can see it. The great light.
Friend, don't go into the light, okay? Focus on my voice. Hi, I'm you. What's your name?
Sweetie pie.
Oh, rough day, huh?
It is. Oh. Oh, how will I make it?
Sorry, this is what he's like. Just, hey, you're actively dying. I accidentally just killed you a little further. I'm sorry. How can I help you? I'm so sorry. My boy is not a detective. He's a secretary.
I know, I'm crying. This is such a serious moment, but it's also really. This is what PG murders are like. It's I'm probably going to need a dough transplant.
Okay, okay. Ortho, relay that to emergency services because I don't think I have. Wait, actually, hang on. Uh, and he will like pause and just look at friend who has not given their name yet. It is just, is there a specific dough type you need? And he is rummaging
Oh,
through hammer space because
her
wait, I
she
bake.
she said her name was Sweetie Pie.
Oh, bless.
Do, would you happen to have gluten free?
Maybe. Let me check. Roll D10. Yes. Oh my god.
Thank you. Oh, I was so worried. I have such a rare type. Oh, I thought this was the end.
Well, we're not gonna let that happen, okay? Everything's gonna be alright. You're gonna be safe. I have a colleague who is chasing down the person that did this to you, and we're gonna get you some medical attention, and in the meantime, this should work pretty well as a stopgap, and he will pull some gluten-free pastry dough out of hammer space.
Give me a second. I'm literally crying right now.
Internally, it's just this moment of what the fuck is my life? I'm trying to save the life of a jelly donut named Sweetie Pie. What am I doing? And he will just like try and keep her talking of just like distracting her from distressing situation with just like, so, what were you doing today? Do you have any hobbies?
Oh, I was going.
Anyone who we can call to visit you?
I was going to get my toppings redone.
Oh, I'm sure they're gonna look lovely. You know what? I'm sure whoever you have, as I'm sure whoever you have scheduled for your toppings appointment is going to be totally understanding.
Oh, I do hope so. I was really excited. You see, I've had more of a chocolate sort of flavored topping going, and I was thinking about switching to a strawberry. So I will admit, after all this, I don't know if I have the heart for more red.
Well, hey, it's okay. Hey, strawberry's not for everyone. And, you know, I've heard cream is very in fashion lately.
It is. It is. Oh, like my grandma. My grandma used to wear cream.
See? Everyone looks great in Grandma's pearls. I'm sure Grandma's style would look great on you.
Oh. Oh, I haven't had pearls added on in a while. They do tend to be more expensive. Hard candy always is.
Tell you what, I think I might have some pearl sprinkles stocked away here. Let me check.
Oh, you do? Oh, you're so sweet. Meanwhile, Tome is in chase of a knife.
In chase of a living knife.
It was a very toxic relationship.
Oh my god, wait, this was her, like, partner? Incredible! Breathe, you're okay.
Oh gosh. I do feel a bit better to at least have someone here with me.
Of course. Hey, we're not gonna let anything bad happen. What was going on? What did that person have anything against you, or
It was
is it
my.
just random?
No. I'll tell you in case. In case I don't make it so you have a witness. I remember how this happened. I used to watch shows about this. It was my ex.
Ooh.
Yes.
Those are always rough.
I know. I left him for a spoon. He got so mad.
Well, that says more about him than it does about you.
I know. After I found out he was just taking off with Miss Loaf, I just couldn't continue it, but now he's mad at me.
Well, he can stay mad, that cheating bastard.
I'm
Who
so
could
glad.
pass up a lovely lady such as yourself?
Oh, thank you, madam. Thank you. You're so sweet.
I'm certain I'm not as sweet as yourself. Ortho, how's that emergency transport looking?
They're probably really close. And you hear like Siren pulls up and you see some tunes and real kind mix jump out and like one of them stops and goes, "Oh, I see. Okay, gluten read. So I'll call the hospital, let them know to get the bakery part up and prepared." And he he runs back to the thing and starts calling while these the men take a stretcher and then like comedically fold it out to be wider so that it can fit her. As they all gather, like, okay, ma'am, you can step back now. We'll help her up. Ma'am, we're gonna gently lift you up, okay? Do your best to make sure that nothing falls apart, okay? All right, I'll do my best. And they lift her up and then place her on the gurney. And she goes, the person, you said your name was you, correct?
That's me.
Thank you so much. And they start
Of course.
wheeling her away.
You get better soon, ma'am.
Thank you. They load her up and then off they go.
And Yu is just going to lean against the wall, put his head in his hands, and just, what the fuck was that situation?
There is a couple of minutes before you see Tome just kind of casually walking back. Well, I see you took care of that part of the situation.
Yeah, paramedics showed up. They got her to a hospital. Hopefully she'll be fine.
Hopefully. The best we can hope for.
Sweet lady. Oh god, that's important. Fuck!
It's you actually see him try not to smile. It's a common thing that happens.
Uh,
You'll be surprised how often that joke comes up. I went to see a comedian, a cupcake comedian once. He had a lot of jokes like that actually.
I've never been one for stand-up.
Too bad.
Oh boy.
It's my favorite form of comedy.
It's a wonderful art form. I just don't have the stomach for it.
That one on tension as well.
Unintentional. Oh, fuck me, Blue. He just puts his head in his hands. He puts his head in his hands.
Well, don't worry. The perpetrator has been caught.
Oh, good. Hopefully they get put away for a long time. That was her ex who was cheating on her, and asshole.
Oh yes. Quite a shame too. Like you said, lovely lady, it seems. No, I caught him red. He pauses, bladed, I guess.
Hopefully not red bladed, that would burn.
Oh no, he literally had a blade and it was red from her jam.
Oh. Terrifying. I hate that. Thank you.
He was a knife.
That doesn't make it. Did he stab her with his face? What?
it's quite easy. It's similar to how you and I would head bonk. It happens a lot with utensil murders.
Yeah, utensil murders. Those are just a thing that happen. Oh god, I want to go home.
Why don't you follow me this way? I'm gonna we're gonna go get you something to drink, some tea or something. This way. And he kind of just motions for you to follow him.
And Yu has been given a direct command that he's gonna follow, even if he's just still having an existential crisis.
Tome guides him over to a nearby bakery, not the Painted Lady. It's one much smaller, and kind of steps in and orders some warm tea and coffee for himself, and he waits on the pastries. Doesn't seem like a good idea right now. And then
No.
takes the drinks and places the tea down in front of you. Green herbal tea, I find, does the best for calming people down. And he just
Oh.
sits there and sips his tea. Sips his coffee.
Oh. Oh god, I feel so bad. But this is something I already have written down. He just kind of blinks and says, "Oh. Now's probably a bad time to mention I'm allergic to green tea."
Oh, in that case, I'll
It,
just order some more. Give me a second.
it's okay. It's okay. I could just and he will actually go through Hammer Space and let me see if he can pull this out. Yeah, he pulls out like a box with various different herbs in it and a couple of like DIY tea bags. And he will like quickly put something together. Tom is welcome to roll like either nature or investigation to see if he recognizes the ingredients, as you then will go up to the counter and politely ask for a cup of boiling water. Yeah, no, Yu is allergic to green tea and coffee.
Rest in peace.
Which one was
That
that?
was investigation.
Investigation? Yeah, so some of these you don't recognize, because some of them are a little more obscure, but like Tome, you can recognize like there are chamomile flowers in there, and there are a couple lavender buds, and um there's a couple leaves of different kinds that you don't recognize, but there is, very much the semi-distinct teeny tiny itty bitty pieces that make up a rooibos tea. As Yu comes back with the hot cup of water to put the tea in.
A pretty useful skill, I won't lie. And he nods towards the tea.
Oh, yeah. I picked that up back in the mirror. My old boss taught me. It
Well,
comes in handy.
definitely, especially when it comes to calming down. Speaking
Mm-hmm.
of which, make sure you're taking deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing an attempted murder can be a lot for people.
You think you've seen it all, and then you accidentally squish someone's insides out. Oh god. And
Oh,
he's just going to
oh,
I didn't mean to.
no,
It
it's
was
okay. It's
first aid impulse is to put pressure on the wound to stop the bleeding, but that doesn't work
yeah,
when
it's
someone's insides are all goo.
yeah, no, don't. And he kind of gives like a wave and don't worry. The let's just say there's a reason that I am a detective who specializes in toon cases. Toons can often have their own sort of law. There's a whole division for bakery related things. I know a couple bigger town hospitals even have entire sections dedicated to helping those like in with that particular sort of thing, either because they're more toon or if they're some of them are more especially like Hazen. We get so many Hazen like that.
Right, the different materials would probably make
Hmm.
emergency medical care a bit difficult.
Yeah. For example, I once had a case involving a rubber hose. It was a rubber hose cannoli, to be specific. Um, and You would think that the problem would be, of course, related to the cannoli part, but ironically, the attempted attack hadn't worked because its almost victim had managed to get away by slipping into a grate. Problem is the cannoli part did not do as well with the grate, so we had to treat them for a third degree dissolving.
Oh god. Oh,
Um,
that poor dear. They made it out okay,
Oh,
right?
oh, absolutely. It was just the outer side. The hospital gave him a new edge. I've I heard that they received. I heard that they even got a The hardest part, I believe, was the filling transfusion. But when I checked on them, because I did want to check on them, they were perfectly fine, living quite a happy life. I heard that. I think I remember they even made friends with one of the nurses there, and I do believe they still see each other. Don't know what their relationship status is, though. Personally, I always thought those two were going to get together. Every time I walked in, they were making eyes at each other.
Well, whatever it turned out to be, I'm just glad that they're happy.
Oh, yes, no. Uh, Luckily, most bakery based crimes tend to have a slower death rate due to the fact that it's a lot harder for them to bleed out completely.
Thicker blood will do that.
Indeed, so don't worry. Um, and trust me, if the lady was genuinely upset with you, she would have made it very clear.
I'm just glad that I was able to get her out of there. Even if she was upset with me, that would have been justified. I'm fine with people being upset with me as long as they come out of everything okay.
Well, most likely she will. Um, I haven't gotten a call that this case has developed into a murder, so I'm taking that as a good sign.
And here I thought we were just gonna get away with uh, calling a policeman a knobhead.
Never, never attempt the plot. That is something you must very much learn if you wish to survive here.
Ugh. You just kind of lets his head dunk against the table.
Yeah, that happens with a lot of people when they get used to Einquil for the first time. Take your time, take your time.
Ugh, it's not that, it's just I had been kinda hoping to get away from plot nonsense.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
not gonna happen here. You'll have to move countries if you want that.
apparently. I thought that was something unique to the place I was, but apparently I was wrong.
Inkwell is special in that way. And I won't be surprised if there's other places, but real kind countries tend to be a little safer from the plot. It doesn't have as
That
much control there as it does here.
I guess that would have its ups and downs, wouldn't it? He kinda, like, sits up a little bit and starts, messing with the herbs in the box on the table, just sorting them and just on one hand, less guarantee of Murphy's Law, on the other hand, less promise that things will end well. Because plots
Yes.
have to have satisfying endings, but real
Oh,
life.
he gives a wavy hand at that. Don't rely on that logic.
Oh.
You are lucky in that Bill's Town tends to be a bit more on the PG-13 side. But you go outside Town, there are higher rated areas, and, well, stories there don't always end happily.
There's a difference between a happy ending and a satisfying one.
He pauses before he gives a nod. True then. Well, if you're willing to consider those two separate, then yes, we do get satisfying endings here in Town.
And you kind of smiles and takes another sip of his tea. And he kind of looks at it and then looks up at Tom and says, "Thank you, by the way."
Oh, well, it was nothing. Simply was doing my job, and well, Moria would not be very happy if I had you have a breakdown and then I just left.
uh, yeah. No, that. Mm. And I need to roll a d2 on something. Okay, your impulse control is there. Okay. I think he does just sit in kind of awkward silence because this is someone he knows doesn't like him very much. And part of him wants to, like, try and smooth things over, but also scary.
Tome is not going to say a thing, he's just going to quietly sip his coffee. He eventually pulls out like a notebook and starts just writing in it.
I think eventually to, like, break the tension a little bit, Ortho, the AI within Yu's pocket mirror, like, chirps up and beeps and says, The patient you had me send to the hospital has arrived safely."
There you go. Tome gives a nod. That's already a good sign. Um, Very likely in the ambulance they were able to help stabilize her, and well, now all she'll need to do is have an official dough transplant and then some time spent in the oven.
Mhm.
It should be good.
That's good. And he will kind of, tap the pocket mirror screen and say, "Okay, Ortho, sleep mode."
Where did you get
And
that?
the Huh?
That thing, where did you get it? Not
Oh,
before ortho went.
it's a pocket mirror. It's kind of like a plot device, but it's, a little more not advanced, just multifaceted. It's not just a communicator, it can run a bunch of programs. It's how I keep the files organized at Moria's office. It's how I keep a bunch of different photos and memories. It's also how I do communications, but also, like you saw at the crime scene that wasn't, it can work as an emergency forensics kit.
Hmm. It's impressive, I'll admit.
It was made for me by a classmate.
Do you miss them?
Mm, that's complicated to answer. And he
Yes,
kinda
I would
scratches
assume
at the back
so.
of his neck.
Mentioned the college not in the most positive mindsets, but you do have a different tone when talking about his classmates. I'm guessing you miss them, but you do not miss the situation you met them in.
No, it's not that either. It's more of hmm. I can recall them fondly, but I can't say I'd ever want to see them again.
Hmm. I guess that's understandable.
Because, well, he kind of gestures a little vaguely and says, "There's certain friendships that only last for as long as the situation does. Idia, the person who made my mirror for me, and Ortho, his brother, who the AI that runs the pocket mirror is named after, uh, they were nice, or, well, Ortho was nice. Idia was a chronic shut-in, who we had to drag to get to any social event ever, even the ones he was legally obligated to be at. It was a whole thing. But I have fond memories with these people. I I had people I would consider friends, even if most of my friendship with them consisted of dragging their asses out of the fire after they did incredibly stupid shit. Um, Shout out to my friends who managed to sell their souls to an octopus for better grades and then proceeded to not get better grades. But I can say that those people were my friends and my classmates, but I don't think I miss them. Sorry, that's a bit of a rambling answer.
Oh, understandable. Hmm. Technically, that story does remind me of stuff that has happened here, and I wonder if it's one of those universal things. Well, how are you feeling now?
Uh, a little, a little more grounded now that I know that Miss Pie is safely at the hospital and is getting treatment. Are you okay?
Oh,
You
yes.
probably had to fight that guy to get him to.
Uh, it was, I got a nick or two, but, I don't tend to hold wounds like most.
The minute you say you got a nick or two, you reached into his vest pocket and pulled out a packet of band-aids to
Ah,
slide over to you.
Tome kind of laughs and gently slides it back. Don't really work on those. I'll be fine. A night's rest and I'll be all good.
Sorry, force of habit.
Oh, no, it's not a bad habit to have, especially because there are a lot of people who don't have the same watch as I do, say.
Um, since you seem to be a bit of an expert on the whole tune logic thing, do you mind if I ask a question or two?
No, go ahead. I would much rather you be able to ask questions and they start to learn rather than, well, you have another panic attack the moment we have a very tune-based crime. I realize now that I probably should have warned you that she would be okay.
Well, I'm just glad that I did something to help regardless. Does tune logic work differently for every tune?
Yes, actually. There are some consistencies, but there's also inconsistencies. That's a I guess you can trust it to be consistently inconsistent. It's for some tunes they find themselves in situations where when presented with a take a panel of wood, take a loose panel of wood. Okay, there are some tunes who tune logic means they will always step on it just right, that it smacks them in the face.
Ooh,
However, there are other tunes who, when presented with it, will step on it and it makes a loud creak, which makes them round. Um, so it's very much a depends normally on the genre and what the tune specializes in, what the tune's known for, their role in the story.
right. So there are different genres.
Yes.
How do you know? Like, how
Uh,
do you tell what
it's
genre a person is?
it normally takes a lot of studying, and a lot of people tend to shift genres through their life, and it changes for some people daily. It normally you can tell based off the things that happen to them, their general rating. For example, I follow the me spec having the word. I fall under comedy as my genre mostly. However, I do sometimes intersect with mystery. Um, Very rarely do I get involved with dramas. But take Moria. Moria is, although not a tune, in a real kind, she still does have a distinct mystery genre.
So it can apply to real kind as well.
Sometimes you normally have to be here a bit longer, but yes.
Okay, that. So it's like a rule of nature rather than a rule of person.
I would guess so. Yes. Genres tend to fall under rule of nature as they affect the environment more than the person. Tropes tend to affect the person more than the environment.
Sorry, a lot of this stuff is just people will, I'll ask why something happens and someone says, "Oh, tune logic," and I just don't get what they
Well,
mean.
that is, he does give a small laugh at that. That is also partially because I will admit a lot of us tunes, if we can't explain it, we'll just say tune logic.
I like tune logic can apparently cover everything from accidentally squishing someone's insides out to accidentally breaking myself into my apartment with soup. That happened. I still don't know why that happened.
Yeah, no, that sounds like tune logic.
I
It's,
still keep finding soup in my cabinets.
I guess a good way to say it is tune logic is that things will happen because they need to.
So, sorry, this
Though there
probably isn't gonna.
are sometimes exceptions to that, like you don't need to squish people's guts
Yeah, no. I'd prefer not to do that again.
out.
Um, okay, so this isn't probably gonna make much sense because this is a term from the place I was, but so it's kind of like an archetype's definitions. It's not something that's carried within individual people, but it does tailor itself to an individual despite affecting the environment.
Oh, yes. And we do have archetypes here.
I don't think it means the same thing. Archetypes where I was were people who, for some reason or another, stopped. Like, they stop aging and they stop changing as a person because fate or destiny or the story needs them exactly as they are forever. That's. Hmm. And he kind of bites back on what he was saying. And just archetypes are. Being an archetype can apply to anybody who falls into a certain role. It usually. I. Hmm.
Tone
I see you
looks.
rolling things,
Yeah,
Spec.
yeah, yeah. Tone
What do
looks
you?
at the other, and he keeps a mostly straight face, but you does see his eyes flash, and he raises an eyebrow, and he kind of leans forward and leans on his hand. Keep talking about this.
Archetypes? Sure, I guess. Like, archetypes tend to fall majorly into one of two categories. You're either a hero or a villain, but there are multiple different subsets. Like villain archetypes, right? You have the mastermind, but you also have the rogue, and you also have the megalomaniac and the ruler, and the tyrant. And there is a distinct difference between ruler and tyrant because rulers will typically have large groups of people who follow them, but tyrants will instead have populace or populi people who are scared of them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my one of my upperclassmen, Riddle, he was dangerously close to becoming a tyrant archetype, but then he overblooded, and I fixed it. Uh, or I helped, and
So
he fixed
he
it.
I'm guessing these blot things aren't new then. Okay.
Oh, no, they're a rule of the world in the mirror. I didn't know I'd brought them with me. I don't know how, well, I have an idea how, but I didn't know I'd brought them with me because I didn't think it was possible. Because where they came from, they were just how things worked. If you get too deep in your own head and you exhaust your magic too much while you're in too distressed of a state, you accumulate blot energy, which is a measurable energy, and it eventually, well, you saw what happens.
Okay.
Um, and archetypes and blots kind of go hand in hand, because any archetype can become toxic. Can villain archetypes, obviously, it happens to more frequently, but hero archetypes, it can become toxic as well. I think that might have been what happened to Minami or Minami, pronunciation. Um, Hero archetypes can become toxic too. There's a bunch of different hero archetypes. There's the solver, there's the fixer. Solver and fixer are different. Solvers answer questions, fixers change. Solvers answer questions, fixers fix problems. Yes, I'm remembering that right. I had a book about this somewhere, but I don't think I brought it with me. Um, there's there's knights. I had a classmate who was a knight. He was very nice. Very sleepy though. Silver falls asleep a lot. Um, there's knights, there's princes and princesses, aka royals. There's beast tamers.
I would
There's,
recommend.
like I said, it's a multifaceted thing.
Yes. Well, we don't have those by that name, but we do have similar things here. We just call them roles instead. They aren't as common, though. They're more of a label than anything. Um, for
More of a
most,
label than a measurable condition.
yeah,
Mm. I
it's
don't I don't like it.
nobody quite likes roles. Don't worry. That is a constant over here as well.
Well, over there, being an archetype was seen as this big honor because it meant that you were valuable, that you were necessary.
Well, the opposite is seen here. It is considered a bad thing to have a specific role you for too long.
Good. That means you guys have a healthier view of it than they did.
How do people get blotted, if I may ask? Do you know that yet?
It seems to be people I make skin to skin contact with for now.
All right then. Hmm.
Hence, and he kind of holds up his hands, and Tome, you can actually see he has changed the type of gloves he wears since the last time you encountered him. Because before they were just, little, uniform leather gloves, but now they are more like the kind of gloves you'd see in a lab.
Well, I'm glad to see you're taking precautions then.
Of course, I don't want anyone to get sick like that. It's a terrible condition to deal with.
Oh no, I believe you now. And he takes another sip of his coffee.
Now.
I will admit I did not at first, but during this conversation, I've been watching you, and well, you haven't lied, so you're just as much of a victim here. I will acknowledge that. I'm sorry, I do get protective over my children.
I No, I don't begrudge you at all. You don't have to apologize. I would be angry too.
Hmm.
All I can assure you is that I never intended for any of that to happen, and I am sincerely sorry that it did.
Well,
But
you
that
don't need to
doesn't fix the
apologize to
fact
me.
that doesn't fix the fact that it did happen. And if you wanted to stay angry, you would have every reason to do so, and I would not begrudge you that.
Well, I have no intention of that. Hmm. Having grudges is a bit of an exhausting thing, I find, and, well, no offense, you haven't quite done anything worthy of a detective grudge yet.
I hope to never do so. That sounds like a dangerous thing to be a part of.
Don't murder anyone, you should be good.
I don't I don't
There we
ever
go.
want to do that.
See? Look, problem solved.
That actually gets a slightly hysterical laugh out of you of just that's something that you have to tell people?
Yes, actually.
That's terrifying. Thank you. The most I have ever done was hit someone with a baseball bat because they were trying to kill me.
Understandable.
And even then, I only ever aim for the knees.
I'd recommend the gut next time.
But knees takes them down faster.
As for gut, it depends on them. If they're. It depends on where in the knee. And, like, for example, if you went for my kneecaps, I have. Mine are harder to hit. But for, say, you went for Jubilee's kneecaps, well, those are quite easy to hit.
I don't know, you're both, like, really tall.
Yes, but I have a special kind of tune logic on my side,
Ah.
known as this, and he turns his hand and it's flat.
You just blinks. Just. That's something you don't see every day.
Yeah, no, it's not something that you normally see, and he like kind of just does like a little flick, like a little rotate of his hand as if he's stretching it, and now when he holds it up, it's 3D again, like it's 2D, but like not flat.
This world and its people are so fascinating.
Eh, well, tunes are like that.
He kind of shakes his head and says, "Yeah, I've started to pick up on that."
I'd recommend if you want to get a good idea of things about tunes. Most people will tend to go to books about tune history. That is not what you're going to need. I would recommend best kind of things to look into are, especially considering yours, look into Toonkind. You'll be able to find books on that, and then look into Tune Medical. Mostly because you can learn a lot about tune logic through our medical. Ironically,
No, that actually makes perfect sense. When something that's supposed to be funny goes wrong, it usually involves a lot of people getting injured.
exactly. So, if you want, then you can also look into some major events, but those two types of books should cover it enough. If you do have a question, you could simply ask me.
Well, now I have two people I can ask questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for taking care of that lady.
Of course. This has been a day.
I can see that for you. I would recommend just telling more. Okay.
Oh, no, I can. Honestly, unwinding with a bit of file sorting right now sounds great.
Out of character, you is a tune, right? I'm not losing my mind.
Yes,
Okay.
you, by all appearances, I have to stress, by all appearances,
I
you is
know,
a
I
tune.
know. That's why.
Specifically,
Yeah, I know you. Not supposed to be a tune. That's why I was like, I'm trying to remember.
by all appearances, you is a maybe Tezuka Naden, maybe Ghiblian tune.
Tome gives like a little bit of a laugh. You are a very strange tune. I won't lie.
Well, I mean, I think that comes with the territory. I'm not supposed to be.
Well, at least my theory was correct on that part. No offense, it was quite obvious.
Yeah, no. I
And it wasn't
I've
even
always
the it wasn't even ironically your lack of tune logic that kind of made it clear.
Oh?
Tunes don't mix well with paperwork. It's Hikachi gives a small laugh. There are actually tunes who have died from it.
Oh god.
Yes, so I
Well, happy to reduce some of that risk, I
yes,
guess.
so I will not lie. You are actually doing a service for us more than you realize. We can do paperwork, especially if you've been trained on it. Older tunes like myself, especially in the detective field, can do paperwork because we've built up a resistance to it.
And that is rough. Because
Eh,
paperwork is one of those things that happens. It
yeah,
just happens.
in
Not
smaller
be able.
amounts is not too bad, but well, you've seen how many murders we get here.
Yeah, no. The stack on Moria's desk is a many-headed hydra.
Indeed. I've tried helping her with that one myself, but there's only so much we can do. I fear that desk may have been claimed by a trope at this point.
Well, I managed to get it cut down to at least stuff that fits in one tray rather than several stacks over the desk, so
Oh, thank
that's at least
goodness.
partially a win.
I did notice I was able to see Moria's face last time I visited her. He does crack a smile at that.
I'm just glad to be able to take that weight off her shoulders. She has a lot going on.
He does. Thank you for looking after my sister.
No problem. She she's very kind. She's the reason I'm able to live where I live right now, so
Moria is
I
a kind heart.
I owe her.
Yeah. You say that, and I'm willing to bet you will never get asked something from her. But Moria is just like that. Bit of
She's
a
really
bleeding
nice.
heart, and not in the jam way. He does. His smile does grow a bit at that.
And that actually probably gets like the most genuine, unawkward laugh that you have heard from you this entire conversation.
Aww.
And he looks like a different person when he's smiling.
And Tone kind of sits there, and he makes an eternal mental note. This one's all right. Protect this one.
And you will glance around and say, I don't know if this is allowed, but do you like pastries? I have some that I could give you.
Oh, yes, please.
I figure running after a knife is probably at least a little physically taxing, even with a better than average stamina.
Indeed. Not to mention the height. I have some cinema rolls on me, but I will always take more.
You reaches into hammer space and I need to actually I'm not going to flip the coin this time. He reaches into hammer space and he pulls out a couple of lemon meringue tarts
Ooh.
on a little plate, which he will hand to Tome.
Tone perks up at that and kind of reaches over and pulls it closer. And just starts, like, happily munching on them.
They are really fucking good.
He finishes one and then he looks up and goes, next time I get mad at you, just slide some of these.
Um, glad you like them.
Listen, I'm fully willing to admit that I'm a man who can be bought.
Most people are. Being able to admit it is a vote towards your character.
He gives a laugh at that.
Do you think that's where we ought to end?
I think that's a wonderful place to end. I was about to say the same thing.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, dear
Thank you so much.
audience.
Thank you so much, Spec, for playing with me. That was
And
delightful.
thank you to you as well. This was so much fun. And we did it. We got them to not, like, stand 20 feet apart with Tome death glaring. Thank you to all our current listeners, and thank you to all our future listeners.
Everybody have a great evening. Bye-bye now.
Bye!